Hey everybody, welcome back to A Dying Man Plays Isaac. Not actually, I mean we're all dying, is the requisite thing you say there. As far as I know, I'm not dying. My throat is kind of dying. 9EWRMPB4. Rate of fire is horrible, but apart from that, we got maybe something going on here. Hey, wait a minute. So, it's a weird one. Please work. It worked. It's working. Everything is happening just fine. Bookworm. We roll with Book of Revelations. I'm sorry, missing no. Wish I could make it happen, but I can't. I promised you an anecdote about Buckley's. The medicine that's supposed... I don't even know if it counts as medicine. I mean, it's in the pharmacy, and they lock it up after 11 p.m., which is really annoying. I'm not trying to make crystal methamphetamine. I haven't even gotten sapphire methamphetamine yet. Yeah, that's a Pokemon joke. Deal with it. But I don't know if it's medicine, or if it's like some tonic that Grandpa Simpson sold on the television program of the same name. You remember the show, Grandpa Simpson? It might not have been worth a Spirit Heart, but I'm willing to give it a shot. We got, Book of Revelation, so it should happen. It is true what they say in the ad. It tastes awful, but it works. Does it work? I don't know. All I know is when you take it, you feel better. You don't get better faster, but you feel better faster, which is really all I could ask of a medicine. You know, I'm not asking it to be a miracle worker, I guess, or anything like that. I mean, what kind of idiot expects a medicine to, like, cure something? Especially when you can buy it for $5.99 out over the counter. That's not a Valiant Pharmaceuticals, it's not the way we go here. I really wish we could get, like, a single bomb. I feel like everything else hinges on us getting a single bomb here. Not gonna happen right here. Buckley's original tastes bad, but it clears you out from all orifices, which is exactly what you're looking for. I got Buckley's mucus and phlegm. It's the foulest tasting thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. So if this doesn't actually cause me to grow like 6 inches in height, I'm gonna be really mad. Now, excuse me, I'd prefer not to die here. I would also like to point out, I'm an adult. To deal with a foul-tasting beverage is not necessarily the greatest, injustice. I can deal with it. It's a mere moment of unpleasantness to make you feel better in the future. However, this is, like, really bad. I'm pretty sure that I'm actually doing, like... You should be asking me if this is sponsored. Because saying that Buckley's tastes bad but I still buy it is, like, a real positive thing. For their brand, in my opinion, at least. It would be worse if I was like, oh, this new Buckley's tastes real good. People would be like, they're abandoning their old way of life. This isn't correct. This isn't justice. So this is how liberty dies with thunder, various other Star Wars related quotes is what I'm trying to say. That was a really, really good fight. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is if I'm not cured by tomorrow, something's gone terribly wrong. I'm gonna go for angel deals, because that devil room makes me very upset. For now, though, let's start by coming up this way. I'm pretty happy with the way this run's going. Mostly, 2 orbitals gives us a lot of protection. There's a very narrow window for us to be hit, as long as the orbitals are facing where shots are gonna be coming from or where enemies are. So with that in mind... I've designed this rhyme to explain in due time. That's probably a secret room. I'm very glad it is, because it's very flippant to, we've been waiting on bombs for a long time. If that had not turned out to be the secret room and we wasted our only bomb, I'd be pretty disappointed. I'm not gonna lie to you. This will give us a tinted rock. The key is a nice bonus. Okay. Well, you know what? I think I'll save my key to get to an item room. Do you guys have, like, illness medicine that you go to? I have like a go-to cocktail whenever I go to the grocery store early enough to go to the pharmacy if I'm ill, because most of the time we do go too late. Today we went at 10 a.m., which was insane because it was also a holiday. There were babies crying. I was like, babies? I forgot you existed. It's a new world. I'm like, why is your baby at the grocery store? What's it gonna say? Baby food? You're gonna get it baby food anyway. I trust that you're a good parent. You're out here at 10 a.m. buying groceries instead of, you know, I don't know, abandoning your kids or something like that. You're doing a good job in my eyes already from the limited spec that I have, or limited scope, I should say, of what I know about your situation. So keep it up, 10 a.m. grocery store goers with infants. Actually, I forgot to mention this in the last episode, but when we were checking out of the grocery store, the guy in front of us was talking to the cashier and was like, how's your day going? And there was a baby crying that was going like, wah! And then she went, wah! Does that answer your question? And we all laughed. When I got home, I said, that's pretty messed up, because she was making fun of a baby. Now, you would think that that's bad, to make fun of a baby. The baby has no control over it. But at the same time, the baby also has no concept of the fact that it's being made fun of. So, my perspective on the whole issue is who cares? I think making fun of a baby is a victimless crime. You have to make sure that the parents don't hear. But I mean, even if you had to get into a discussion about it later and they were like, hey, are you making fun of my baby? You'd be like, yeah. I hope that they would be like, well, alright. But like, once they turn 1, you better knock that off. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm not a monster. I mean, your baby's crying. It's mildly irritating. I'm gonna, you know, do an impression of it and then we'll move on with our lives. Obviously, it's a different story. You know, if your baby looks a little weird and you're going, hey, look at that weird looking baby, that's kind of like a little bit more insulting. I wouldn't do that, but as far as I'm concerned, that was quid pro quo. Whatever that means. I don't know. I don't speak Italian. I know it's Latin, okay? My grandma freaked me out when we had dinner with her when we were on vacation. She was like, I don't speak any French, which is a little unusual in Canada. I mean, I tell people I don't speak any French, but I mean, do I speak French? Un petit peu. Not very much. Enough to probably not die if I'm, you know, in France or Quebec, or alternatively, mark myself for death by opening my mouth while I'm there. Puis-je aller à la salle de bain, s'il vous plaît? Un poisson. I remember. No. No. No, it's, I have self-respect right now. I won't do it. I won't do it. Yes, I will take that. That was a lot of money, but I'm willing to, you know, you get what you pay for. Some of the time. Some of the time you don't. Judgment. Blow it up. I'm good to go. I'm feeling good about this run so far. It's got good stuff going on. But she said she didn't know any French when she went to high school in the 1800s. I'm just, you know, it's my grandma. I can make fun of her. She's not even that old. She's like, I think she's 70. She's in her early 70s, which is insane because I'm 30. Well, 29. Which means that she was like 40-something. She was probably 42 when I was born. That's an early grandparent. But anyway, so back in the 17th century when she was in high school, they didn't have to learn French. They only had two choices. Latin and German. I was like, man, I don't know if I went to the same high school, but we kind of grew up in the same area. If my high school had had a German class, I would never complain ever again. My high school didn't have any other language classes except French. Sorry, I'm very sick, as you can tell. No Latin. In fact, that just seems crazy to me. That there was somebody at our rural high school that was like, yeah, I'm the Latin teacher. That seems kind of hoity-toity in 2018, doesn't it? If someone was like, yeah, back in Latin class, I'd be like, all right, Mr. Silver Spoon, private school. I understand how, because see, not all of us went to young Harvard. My grandma is not a yuppie. She's quite the opposite. We went to what I would essentially describe as the Canadian version of Applebee's, and you're gonna be like, is it Montana's? Nah, it's Kelsey's. But you know, it's the same, it's all the same thing, okay? And she was like, what's good here? And that's how I knew she wasn't a yuppie, because if you were a yuppie, you would just answer that, obviously, with nothing. But instead, I was like, oh, the beet-blasted balsamic glazed bear beets chicken salad with a Every item on the menu, it's like Chili's or TGI Fridays. There's like 100 adjectives. I had the blasted chicken fried chicken. And when I ordered it, there were 800 other things that the server thought I wanted. So we had to go down a checklist. I kid you not. By the way, this is like, I mean, it's a family restaurant, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing if you have kids. I once was a kid, and I loved restaurants like this because I was like, oh, sick, $12 chicken fingers. Let's go with this. I want some more offensive punch. I was like, I'll have the chicken fried chicken. Is it what side? I just ordered something called chicken fried chicken. What side do you think? I want fries, obviously. I clearly have no concern about what I'm putting in my body today. And they go, do you mean the butter chicken fried chicken? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't like ethnic food. That's a joke, by the way. In case you're curious. Hold up a second. Yeah, I would think I prefer the Emperor card, honestly. We'll just take it on the chin here. I was more like, do you think I'm insane? I'm not going to order Indian food at Kelsey's. That's like getting Thai food at Applebee's. I'm not going to get a pad Thai with a Jack Daniels fish sauce. It just doesn't make any sense, okay? And then he said, sorry, there's like 1,000 things on the menu with the same ingredient. And I was like, I know. It's one of those places where you pick up the menu and there's like 40 burgers. You ever see Kitchen Nightmares? I guess it's working out for you, okay? Like, you probably have like 100 locations in Canada, but at the same time, you ever hear they say, you know, jack of all trades, master of none? That's how it was starting to feel. I've been there before, you know, it's like when you were in 8th grade, you'd be like, me and my friends are going to go to Kelsey's, and you'd be like, wow, okay, I didn't realize allowance must have come in early this month. Okay, well, that's obviously what we're going to roll with here. Excuse me. But yeah, I didn't have access to a Latin class, so I know some French by default. I'm not a good French speaker, as you know that. My French is not très bien. In fact, I would say it is très mal. And when I speak it, I get très fatigué. Google DeepMind, that's real French. Don't you dare start with me on that one. I remember in 9th grade French class, we had to read this book. And it's very disheartening, because when you're a 9th grade person, you know, you're 13, 14 years old, you're trying to figure out your place in life. You want people to think you're older than you are. It's like the antithesis of adult life, where you want people to think you're younger than you are for the most part. Which is why I always tell people I'm 60. So when they see me, they go, you look good for 60. And I go, actually, I'm 30. And they go, oh, okay. My mistake. Just the fact that you referenced the War of 1812 in every video had me thinking that maybe I was off base a little bit. So we were reading a book, but the book was not like, you know, Wuthering Heights. The book was like 2 people drive a car and go to places in Canada. You know, this is probably like a 4th grade level book. We were reading it in 9th grade. It's very disheartening. You want to be like reading in English class, we're reading stuff with mature themes. You know, it'd get TV 14A if you were watching it on the CBC. And in your foreign language classes, you're reading like La Pomme est rouge. You know, it's disheartening. And one of my classmates, who is kind of a piece of garbage, or was, this was like 14 or 15 years ago now, might have cleaned up his act, probably didn't. I'm gonna give you another anecdote about this guy. Please don't be watching the video. If so, please acknowledge that everybody loves a good joke until it's at your own expense. I mean, you know ill will, more or less. This is a guy, to give you an idea, after high school, he worked at McDonald's throughout high school, obviously nothing wrong with that. After high school, he took a gap year, and he was just gonna save money and then eventually go to like police academy or something like that. And you're like, say no more. And I'm like, no, that's not what, this is a long time ago. Oh my God, you spooked me. Was there more cat vomit?
No, there was like, I was vacuuming, and then one thing got stuck in like the thingy, yeah, like a hose.
The vacuum, yeah.
And then I tried to unplug it.
Yeah.
To get it out, and I did it, but you know, like I pulled it too hard, so the thingy.
I'm aware of that emotion.
Hit my forehead.
Oh no!
Bleeding.
Oh my god. Yeah, she cut herself on her forehead. You're like a professional wrestler.
I have never hit anything so hard on my face that I'm bleeding on my face.
Yeah, it's the rare vacuum-related injury.
Hurts. I feel so stupid. I was like, this like, it's very Asian thing, but there's like a story of like really big daikon, like a radish.
Yeah, okay.
And then this like.
Are you sure it doesn't sound like an Asian thing so far?
The old farming couple.
Yeah.
They were trying to pull the daikon, the radish, but then they couldn't do it, so they called 1 pound folks at a time, and they pulled the whole thing, and it was like really big. That's the whole story. But like.
They have that in England, actually. It's called The Legend of King Arthur.
And then I felt like, I was like, heave, and it was like, and then once that hose of the vacuum cleaner came off, it then bang, and then like it hit my head. I don't know, I feel actually super sad that I have injured myself on a task that is very simple, which is vacuuming the apartment.
Well, you know.
Am I gonna put a bandage on my forehead? I will look like a freaking dork.
You look like Nelly.
I don't know who that is.
You know. Good gracious. Butt is bodacious.
It hurts. Like, it actually feels like a paper cut. Have you ever hit your forehead so hard that you have a cut in your forehead?
No, but I have had testicular surgery.
It just feels like a paper cut. Like, it shouldn't hurt that much. I think it's also, it's bleeding because of, like, the huge force that hit my forehead.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I'm also getting a bruise. Like,
Well,
you can feel the bruise swelling up. Like, I feel that right now.
I feel for you, but also I feel for me, because people are gonna ask a lot of questions. They're gonna be
I'm
like,
gonna say yes.
"You're gonna say that I hit you?"
No. You didn't ask the question, but I said I'm gonna say yes.
You don't.
That's a different question.
People may not know what this is like, but you know, like Kate and I, we've been to the hospital together. If you go to the hospital with your significant other, I don't know if the roles are reversed, but every time we go, eventually they'll be like, "Sir, could you step outside for a bit? We're gonna ask your wife some questions." And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. This sounds like a sweet break from being in the hospital bed, or the hospital room, I should say." And then Kate says they ask her like, "Does he hit you?"
Are you sure?
You know.
Are you sure he does not abuse you in
Yeah.
any form? Are you sure? Are you sure about that, madam? Are you sure?
Yeah. And I'm like,
They check many times.
so really, like, you should have more incentive to take care of yourself, because it casts aspersions on me. And then I come back and I come back into the room and I'm like, "What? Nobody asked, but sometimes she hits me." No, yeah, whatever, sir.
I bet they're like, "Don't be pussy."
Yeah. Okay, don't say the P word in my video. It's gonna get flagged for teenage audiences only.
Sorry.
That's
It's a technical term for a female.
You can say vagina. That's no problem.
Okay. Don't be a vagina.
All right, now you don't be a vagina. Get out there and keep vacuuming.
I hurt so much. Am I bruising? Has it bruised yet?
Nah, it's not bruised, but it is.
It hurts so bad.
The cut, I'm gonna be honest, it kind of looks like a tiny vagina.
Get out of here!
That's alright. She'll just wear bangs down. I don't mean to make light of the issue of domestic abuse, by the way. It's just that, it's not even that I'm upset that she's being asked the question, because I think it's a good thing. If it catches, you know, some situations where that's happening, even better. But it is just kind of tiresome for me, because I think they have a desire to not necessarily believe you the first time you say it, which may be fair, but simultaneously, as the husband, I'm like, yo, come on. The longer you keep asking the question, the more she might be thinking back to some way that I wronged her recently, and you're putting me in more danger. The lady said no. You know, take no for an answer. Anyway, it's a prickly subject. We would do well to get off of this. So anyway, this guy, you're not supposed to hate him because he's a cop. You're not supposed to hate him at all. I don't hate the police. I've never had a bad interaction with the police. Mostly I try not to be involved with them in the first place, and that's worked out pretty well for me, but I understand it's not really, it's a more complicated issue than that, you know, different countries, different perceptions, and et cetera, alongside of that. All I'm trying to say is that this guy, in his gap year, between police college and high school, he got promoted. You look like you have a bandage on your head. If you're asking if you look dignified with the bandage on your head, the answer is yes.
Oh my God.
But you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I've already been in there, you fool. So in his gap year, he was working at McDonald's. He'd worked there for like 3 years maybe. And they were like, check it out, dude. We're gonna promote you to being like an assistant manager of the restaurant. Because you've worked here for so long, you got a lot of experience. He declined because he was worried he wouldn't be able to handle that level of responsibility. So this is the kind of guy you're dealing with here. Now I'm taking the anecdote back to French class. That's right, I did not forget. In French class, he Google translated his book report on it, and then our teacher read his Google translated book report in front of the entire class, and it was meant to be like a deterrent. Oh my god, we're at 18 minutes, we're already going on. I don't really want to fight Hush in this situation, like our HP's not that good, but this is a crazy fast run. And it was, I remember, because I believe that the word for body in French is like ceinture, but on Google Translate at the time, it translated as center. So we were, in the book report, it was like, you know, put the seatbelt over your center. And we were all laughing about it. Joke's on the French teacher, dude. Like, now I realize she probably just had some anxiety about the fact that one day, this algorithm has got an okay chance to take her job. I'm not admonishing language education, okay? My wife takes Japanese classes. She's learning Spanish. She's already bilingual. Which means, basically, if we ever travel and she gets sick, I'm gonna die. But that's okay, you know, I could have taken the opportunity to learn in advance, but really I just rely on her, and you get the idea. But really, I was like, man, this story would be very different. I mean, I wasn't thinking this at the time, because at the time, it was the year 2002, and 2002 was the future. I was like, oh my god. You can play a video game called Snake on your cell phone. Doesn't get any better than this. I hope somebody invents a device that allows me to carry my music around with me. Perhaps more than one CD at a time would be good. But that's a pipe dream. 2 years later, the iPad came out with the click wheel, and I was like, oh my, iPod, sorry. That's how old it is. And I am 60 years old. It's like if you did that in the year 2024, I bet it would come out better than the book report that he tried to write. You would be more like, you should be reading it instead to be like, this guy's gotta, we're sending him straight to French Harvard. What is French Harvard? Harvard. I can do that. You know, I could. My last name is French. I can do it. I was talking to my grandma about like where my genes come from. These are all true stories, by the way. Dang, that's no good. And she was like, well, you know, like your great-great-grandparents were from Quebec, and they couldn't speak any English. And I was like, so that's where I get it from. Like great-great-grandfather, like great-great-grandson. He said the word wrong, etc., etc. I really feel like I should do one of those Ancestry things. You know, it's like, you know, you spit in a tube, and then you send it to Ancestry.com, and they sequence your genome and store it in a vault that will eventually leak, and some foreign government will make clones of you because your genes are so good. They're gonna be like, oh, we need more of this guy. I can deal with like my personal information being leaked. I would rather my genome not be leaked. Like, that's a little, you might say like, well, what do you have to be ashamed of? That's the thing. I don't know what's in there, dude. I have no idea. I would rather just that be private, at least for now. Probably, I would like to know myself, but I don't need anybody else to be knowing. Like, I think we're in for a weird era of personal information and data breaches and so on, you know? It's one thing when someone's like, hey, you know, got your credit card number through a credit card skimmer. You're like, oh no, that's a great feeling of being breached. Now it's going to be like, hey, did you know that you have a 35% chance to have a kid with sickle cell anemia? You'd be chilled to the bone. You wouldn't sleep right after that. But you also could have a child with an enhanced ability to resist the effects of the HIV virus. Now, I'm not saying that that's relevant. I'm just saying that sickle cell anemia is always, anytime it comes up in context in an educational standpoint, it's always to illustrate the idea of, you know, sometimes what seems to be a genetic deficiency can actually be a bonus. You get the idea. This is a run that is in record time. And by record time, I mean slightly faster than average. It went fast enough that my voice held on, and I could even, like, my baby takes the morning train. Maybe I'm not sick after all. It's all psychosomatic. That boy needs therapy. He works from 9 to 5, and then... This doesn't really... To find him, waiting for him. That's not how that song goes at all. Well, it's like sort of how it goes. It's just missed some of the finer details, like it's sounding okay. Hey. What do you have for me? You know what? That's horrible. But I will use it to flood this room. Does that make you feel better? And then I will open this. Don't think I forgot about this. Look at that. We knew we were getting something juicy. Alright, Daddy's back. He's winning Eden runs. This one was very strong. Like, way stronger than I would have expected. And I'm loving Tough Love. Sounds like a country song. I'm loving tough love. I'm hard for hard liquor. Why are these the lyrics to I'm all out of love now? Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps us a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.